Hey there, Dr. Angela, the author incubator, and I am here today with a super quick training that you will not want to miss. You know, so many people ask me, should I pay to publish? And there is a general industry commitment that most people have made to say, no, you should never pay to publish, no matter what. Authors get paid to publish. Authors don't pay to publish. And you can find this sentiment all over the internet. There are even hate sites dedicated to companies that charge authors to publish. And first of all, I should let you all know, I don't have any horse in this race. We don't charge people to publish. My main thing that I do is I work with authors who have an idea for a book that they want to use to start or grow their movements and build their business. And I take them to a finished book and help them find the right publishing solution for them. So while we often help our authors publish, we don't charge people to publish at all. That said, I think this is one of the funniest conversations in the industry because over and over again, I hear this sentiment. As an author, you should never pay to publish. You should get paid to publish. Well, what does that mean? I wanted to delve into the numbers with you. And if you're somebody who usually glosses over when it comes to numbers, stay with me. This is going to be worth your time, I promise. And I'm going to get through it as fast as I can. This is a 2-slide presentation that can make you tens of thousands of dollars if you take the time to connect with what I'm saying. So first of all, why do people say don't pay to publish? Because they want you as an author to have your book selected and vetted by a traditional publisher. Well, why would they want that? Because traditional publishers have experience selecting books that will sell lots of copies of books, right? A traditional publisher only makes money if your book sells, and they take a bet on you, and they only take bets on people who they think have a good chance of making money. Now, that said, the publishing industry doesn't have great odds. About 10% of their books are successful. That's enough to keep the casino going, right? So it works for the publishing industry, but they know if they place bets on 10 books, one of them is going to hit and pay for the other 9. One of them will be a disaster. That's fine. They'll lose money on that. There'll be 8 in the middle that do okay, but they're really going for that one big hit. And so there is no upfront cost. That's a huge advantage. That means there are professionals that are selecting your book, and these professionals are not going to charge you for probably at least $10,000 worth of work. Now, we can argue how much work and how much it costs them, but we're going to use $10,000 as a placeholder number. You're going to work with an editor, and that editor independently could charge $100,000. They could charge $10 an hour. It's a very fluid industry. You're going to work with designers who could charge $5 on Fiverr, or they could charge $150,000 for their book cover design and their interior design. So it's hard to say exactly, but there's probably about $10,000 worth of resources and overhead that a publisher will commit to you before your book makes a dime. And in addition to not charging you that 10 grand, they're going to give you some upfront money. That upfront money is called an advance. What is it in advance of? Your money. It's an advance of your money. Did you ever hear on sitcoms when people would go ask their boss for an advance because they couldn't pay their bills? That's their salary that's getting advanced to them, right? You still have to pay back your salary. Like, it's not their money. They're not paying you to publish. They're fronting you your cash. So they're going to invest. We're going to use as a placeholder 10 grand in you. And then they're going to give you, let's say, another 10 grand. That's the average nonfiction first-time author. That's a great advance. So they're going to give you 10 grand and they're going to spend 10 grand on you to find out if your book will work. Now, the 10 grand they give you as an advance is your money. So that means they think your book is going to sell enough for you to make that 10 grand back. That's why they're giving you your money in advance. Now, the cons, the negative side of a traditional publisher is this. Why would they give you your own money in advance? It's a head scratcher. Why would they agree to spend $10,000 on you and then give you $10,000 of your own money in advance? Have you ever had a boss do that? Has anybody ever advanced you money in the past? Do you have any idea why somebody would do that? Well, there's somebody who does this a lot. It's the mafia. So let me tell you why publishers would be willing to advance you your money. It's because they're going to get a crazy ass interest rate. So they're going to advance you $10,000. That means they believe your book will sell 10,000 copies. How do I know? Because books generally make authors about $1 a copy. So if you get a $10,000 advance, they think that you're going to sell 10,000 copies. All right, come look at my screen. I told you this would be a two slide presentation. So I want you to look at my screen, and we are going to look specifically at how these numbers play out. So, traditional publisher, no upfront costs. If you do this on your own, self-publishing, there's going to be upfront costs. The advance that the publisher will pay you is $10,000. And if you have to self-publish, you're going to end up paying $10,000. So you either get $10,000 of your money handed to you, or you spend $10,000. Again, it's a placeholder. You could spend $1,000, you could spend $100,000. We're just using that as a placeholder number. Now, let's imagine that you sold 10,000 books. You sell 10,000 books with a traditional publisher. And remember I said, you're going to earn $1 of that. So when all the numbers break down, shake down, and by the way, if you want all the details, read my book, Make 'em Beg to Publish Your Book. Make 'em Beg to Publish Your Book. You will see in there exactly how it breaks down. But at the end of the day, for your $14.95 book, your $15 book, you're going to see $1. So if you sell 10,000 copies, you have earned out your advance. You make nothing new. You got your $10,000, right? But how much does the publisher make? The publisher is making something like 60 grand for your $10,000. So you make $10,000, the publisher makes 60. You'll see that there's some leftover money there from the $15. That's because there's lots of other people to pay out. Distributors and bookstore chains and printers and things like that. So you don't make any additional money. You just get your $10,000. Now let's go through it if you self-published. Self-publish, you're going to front the 10 grand. That's scary, right? You front that 10 grand. The book is still $14.95. At the end of the day, you take home about $7, $6.95 that comes to you after everybody else has been paid out. It's actually probably more like $8 or $9, but I'm being conservative in this model. Now you get $69,000, $69,500 that comes to you. You've already spent 10, so let's take 10 grand out of that. Now you're netting $59,500 on the same exact book sale. Same exact book sale. So if you sell 10,000 copies on your own, you make, at the end of the day, 60 grand. If you sell 10,000 copies through a traditional publisher, you make $10,000. So when people say you don't pay to publish, well, I think you're paying about 60 grand to publish as opposed to 10 grand to publish. Because if the total money is $70,000 and I'm either clearing 60,000 or I'm clearing 10,000, how did I pay by not fronting the costs? Yeah, you might have to pay up front for sure, but you are going to make so much more money if you figure out how to do this yourself. So when they say smart authors don't spend their own money to publish, we have a different definition of smart. Yes, you can save some upfront costs, but how do you win? If you focus on saving the upfront costs, how do you win? I want to show you. So here is slide number 2 in the presentation, in our 2-slide presentation. Let's look at how you win. So let's say we go back to this same advance with a traditional publisher. $10,000 are on the table. We're going to give it to you up front. I'm a publisher. I'm taking a bet that you're going to be my 1 in 10 books that works. You're going to make $1 a book. And let's say you only sell 100 books. It's a very sad day. Your book sells 100 books. You only make $100. You only earn $100. Now, good news, because you listened to people who said you don't pay to publish, you got your $10,000 in advance. Go you. So you have your $10,000. You've only earned 100 of it, but you get to keep it. That's $9,900 more than you've earned. You've tricked the publishing company. Go you. The publisher only made $600, $583. And not only did they only make $600, they had over $10,000 in expenses, right? So now they've lost $9,500 on you, right? Plus they paid you this advance. So they've lost another $9,900 on you. Really, they've lost about 20 grand on you, but you are up $9,900. Your book is a disaster. It's not changing any lives, but you can be proud you duped a publishing company out of $9,900 and another $9,417 in overhead. You've basically stolen 20 grand from a publisher, but gosh darn it, it wasn't your own money. Energetically, what do you think that's putting out in the universe, right? So if it's a successful book, and successful is as long as you earn out that advance, they give you an advance of $10,000. They invest $10,000 in you. You sell 10,000 copies. You earn out the advance. You're at zero. They gave you $10,000 up front. You earn that $10,000. You don't owe them anything. They don't owe you anything, right? You've got your 10K. The publisher makes $58,300. Now, they take 10,000 of that and they pay off all of their bills, all of their overhead, and that leaves them with about 50K that they have earned from you. You can feel good about that. You've earned out your advance. You earned your $10,000. The publisher earned $50,000. That was a mutually beneficial deal where the publisher makes most of the money. But okay, you can feel good about that. So the only time it's cheaper for an author not to pay upfront to publish is if you're going to sell no books and screw over your publisher. That means you're not growing your movement. The publisher's not going to support you next time. It's going to be hard to get a publishing deal next time. An agent's not going to work with you. They can see all these numbers are transparent in a system called BookScan. So they will know your book didn't sell and you will be persona non grata. But gosh darn it, you were able to steal $9,000. Aren't you proud of yourself? So do you want to make a difference or do you want to make sure that you don't risk any of your own capital? That's my question to you. Because if you want to start a movement, if you want to make a difference, you have to be willing to say, I will never bet against myself. I will never bet against myself. And not only that, I will always bet on myself. If there's an opportunity to put down 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 on anything, the ponies, the slot machines, the stock market, or me, I will pick me every damn time. I was going to say fucking, but I said damn. Because this is the thing that I want you to know. If you want to be a difference maker, you must bet on yourself. You cannot expect some ivory tower publisher in New York City to be the one who's going to bet on you when you're saying, well, I'm not going to bet on myself. I don't want to pay to publish. That is some crazy bullshit. Now, that doesn't mean that sometimes you don't work with a traditional publisher. It can be a great strategy. It can be a fantastic strategy. There is no right way to publish, but you must start with the mindset of being someone who always bets on themselves first and never bets on themselves to lose. So if you're wondering, should I pay to publish? My answer is you put your movement first. You put your reader first. And if that means paying to publish, puts you in the best advantage to have the most revenue to spend to grow and develop your movement, then hell yeah. You front those costs and you reap the benefits. That's what I got for you today. This was a 2-slide training on how to know if you should pay to publish.